We are working on turning the world's worst bathroom into something amazing. Yep, that's carpet on the floor. Yes, there are sockets in the skirting. Yes, they hid a Victorian fireplace behind this hideous wallpaper. State of it all. During our downstairs reno, we've used this bathroom as an office and a kitchen at one point. It has seen a lot. So now it's time for the glow up. I mean, it's going to be a while yet until the big transformation, but here's the kind of vibe we're going for. Orange, deep green and white with brass hardware. And of course, there's a bit of terrazzo in there. These are the tiles we like. The triangle ones are from Claybrook Studio and the terrazzo ones are from Boutique Stone. Actually quite a similar vibe to our hallway tiles, just a different shape. And we'll be laying them in a random order too, so they're not a uniform pattern. Other than that, we've only bought this ceiling light so far. It was in the sale, so it had to be done. I'm looking forward to sharing all the progress with you. Follow along for more updates coming in the new year. The world's worst bathroom renovation continues. I dived right in and it got messy. Let's rewind. Last October, I unearthed this original fireplace, stripped paper off the walls, but that was only the beginning. Last week, I finally got back into it, and the first step was getting these walls and this ceiling down. It started by protecting our hallway carpet because the dust be dusting when you take down walls, and I don't need crop imprints on the stairs, thank you very much. Then safety first, as always, stay safe and slay. Day one's objective was getting these walls completely bare. 3 hours this took me, 3 hours of smashing this wall, cleaning up over and over again. I was making a constant mess. It's like having sand for walls. It just gets bloody everywhere. I hated every second of the mess. I loved every minute I got closer to the end. And it looks quite easy sped up, but my arms, well, they ached to high hell after. And then one of our cats snuck in and I had to, "There's the door, bitch!" him out. And you thought it was over, but no. Time to remove all the wooden lath strips. My sanity was slowly decreasing here. You get like these fat bergs of plaster on all the noggins, so more sandy mess to deal with. Oh, but there's still more. Now I had to take hundreds of these Victorian nails out, one by one. Plasterboard will be fixed here eventually, so we can't have anything protruding. And I thought the worst of it was over here, but the ceiling is a whole other story. It's so awful. I'll see you in part 2. Renovating our bathroom isn't just a pick some new tiles sort of job. It's a remove walls, destroy the ceiling and your whole soul sort of job. Last time I ripped out this wall and thought, how bad can the ceiling be? Spoiler, it was really bad. First, I put on a shower cap under my PPE to save myself another hair wash day, and yes, this does work. Back to the ceiling, the original plaster was crumbling and had to come down, as we've got plans for a fancy vaulted ceiling. So I just went at it for 5 hours, starting small, but it quickly got big. And yeah, I was a fucking state. R.I.P. my nails. The clean-up was brutal, my back is done in, but there's no rest for the type A personalities who have to do everything, otherwise they think they failed. So I carried on and turned the room into a total tip. Honestly, the mess I created and had to clear up with my bare gloved hands, I needed therapy just to get past this bit. The dust literally reached everywhere in the house. This is downstairs in the lounge. Oh, and this is our shower. We still have to shower in every day. Love that for us. The day after, we said bye bitch to the carpet and I cleared out this big cupboard for total ceiling destruction. Yes, I should have done this first, I know that. And it's about to get a lot worse. See you in part 3, huns. Just when you think things can't get any worse, they do. Yes, it's part 3 of the world's worst bathroom renovation. Day's task was getting this ceiling down, stripping out the loo so we can rebuild it a lot better. No carpet this time. We called in reinforcements as this was a big job. Thanks fam. Started by removing the massive sauna wood cupboard. Good riddance. The size of the nails they used for this shitty cupboard, honestly, why? Then the wall between the loo and the bathroom had to come down. The old plaster is crumbling. We need to plasterboard it all if we want any chance at a smooth wall in here. I'm amazed these walls survived for over 100 years, to be honest. Yep, big mess and we're only just getting started. Then ceiling time. And yes, this was horrific. It got so dusty so quickly, we could barely see across the room. And all the old insulation had to come down, plus there were lots of old roof slates up here just resting on the ceiling. Love that. And all this dirt. Hours in, we were left with this mess, and I really did question my life choices here. Like, we're doing this, but at what cost? Will I ever feel clean again? Why am I literally paying to do this? Absolute joke. And then the clean-up, again, brutal. I'm so grateful for my family helping with this because I would have just run away to live alone in the forest at this point. Like, have you ever had to hoover your shower? Because I have. But we do now have the ceiling open and the option of keeping it vaulted, which I'm obsessed with and will now make my only personality trait. And the loo is giving prison. Part 4 brings even more destruction, and we have pretty bathroom things arriving. We absolutely gutted our hideous bathroom, and now it looks like this. Yeah. No more internal walls, and the ceiling is open for business, as is the loo, which is a weird experience, let me tell you. But now the real work begins. Welcome to part 4. So many little bits to do before we can get the fitters in, starting with removing every single nail from the beams one by one. We're keeping them exposed to show off the history of this house. It's over 130 years old and we love uncovering all this original construction. Just don't do what I did and chuck them all on the floor. Then I stripped the ancient wallpaper that was in the old boiler cupboard and it pretty much just fell off. This pattern is just not it. Too cottagecore for me. We also drilled holes for some new light placements, and no, this isn't asbestos, it's just wallpaper. Everyone here seems to be obsessed with asbestos, I swear. But in more exciting news, we have actual bathroom stuff arriving. Firstly, the loo. Pro tip, check stuff as it arrives, as most places only give you 48 hours to report damages. And this was absolutely fine. We also have a beauty of a brass shower set, some shiny basin taps, this sexy green sink, and it looks even better on this vintage vanity unit. And for some reason, we now have a whole bath in our lounge, because this is Reno life. It's not aesthetic at all, it's just fucking messy. I can just really see this whole scheme coming together now, and I'm so hyped to get this room done. But before that, we've got another mammoth task on our hands, insulating the roof, and I'll show you the whole process in part 5. This part of the bathroom renovation nearly broke me. I never ever want to do this again. It's part 5 and this was probably the hardest thing we've ever done. Quick recap, so we stripped out the bathroom ceiling to create the vaulted ceiling of our dreams, but discovered our Victorian rafters are tiny, so we have to extend them to get the right size insulation up there. We thought we'd do it ourselves, and yeah, we had to put our whole DI yussies into this one. We started out so happy. The new blocks of wood we were using were 3 meters long each, and of course our rafters are bowed to shit, so each rafter extension needed packers added here and there to make sure they were straight and even. It took us 13 hours across 2 days. We ran string from one end of the room to the other as a guide, top, middle and bottom, otherwise we wouldn't get a continuous flat ceiling across the room when we eventually plasterboarded it. And each bit of wood needed tapering at the end, then we had to work out what size packer we'd need, and of course they were all different. Yeah, just a horrible job all round, fucking hideous from start to finish. We worked out a little jig system though, so used a cut of the new wood to work out what size packers we'd need to make it sit in line with the string. This did save our arms lifting the whole thing each time. And 2 rafters in, we very nearly gave up. It was so hard. But we got there in the end and we did finish the room. However, it's just one step of so many, and now we have to do all the insulation. Yay, hate my life. So yeah, still a very long way to go. Other than that, more pretty bathroom stuff has arrived. Our tiles are here, which were so heavy, and I carried them in like a sweaty troll. But these nice things are a reminder of what's to come and help me bury the trauma as deep as possible. See you in part 6. Insulating a roof on a birthday hangover? Sure, why not?
A few moments later.
As you can see, I was a great help throughout all of this beast of a job. Oh, you're odd. We had to get 2 layers of insulation up in the bathroom roof to achieve the vaulted ceiling of dreams, which meant lots of measuring, lots of nooks and crannies, and a lot of sawing. And these foam blocks were dusty AF, and we used so many official tools like a broom for a straight line. I did eventually do some work. My birthday was on Eurovision night. What do you expect? Fitting insulation was bloody hard work just because it's so high up and you really got to bash it in there. We had beams to contend with and you can't push it in too far as you need to leave an air gap behind it. We filled any gaps with expanding foam. I made a fucking mess of this. And I also marked the joists along the wall so we knew where they were when they're no longer visible. And just when you think you're getting there, there's a whole other layer to put on top. The second layer is thinner and you have to drill it into the joists. Again, really tough on the arms and just annoyingly fiddly. Then you tape all the joins with aluminium tape so none of that cold air can get in, honey. Look at us working as a team. Then it gets more boring because you have to overlay a vapour barrier, which is just like attaching a plastic bag to your ceiling. This stops condensation or any moisture dripping through to the plasterboard ceiling that will eventually be here. This was a day after all the installation. We were shattered and we had about 10 rows in the space of 2 hours that it took to do this. But at the end, oh, sweet relief. And now I never ever have to look at a block of insulation again. Another DIY project that left me looking like this. I'm Sian and welcome to our hideous bathroom renovation part 7. We're now trying to restore these 130-year-old Victorian ceiling beams, protecting them against moisture. The stripes are from where strips of wood were once attached to form a ceiling like this. And we don't want to erase that history. In fact, we really want to show it off because I'm still in awe that we get to live in a house built in the 1800s. But there was a lot of clean-up to do first, removing any loose plaster and generally just clearing any muck off from around or on the beams. Then we could get on sanding. Again, not trying to get a clean, brand new beam look. This ain't a new build, but just trying to take any roughness or flaky bits off. I love the rough saw marks you can still see here. These were likely cut by hand. My arm muscles could never. Yeah, so the dust, that went everywhere. We were absolutely covered, as was the floor. So I had to do a big clean up before the next stage, really getting any bit of dust off the beams so we could move on to oiling them. We were actually in good spirits even after all that mess, just excited to do something that didn't take 3 days to finish, I think. We use this Danish oil, which is a mix of oils, which is good for waterproofing wood, bringing out the grain and just giving it a gorgeous rich finish. I actually love doing this bit because painting anything is my favourite. And yeah, this ancient wood was thirsty. It goes on really dark, but trust the process. It lightens a lot as it dries. And the beams are looking better already. They're still full of character and all that history. Still a few coats to go, but they're just a lot more refined and a lot less dusty now. Back on my bathroom renovation bullshit, and today we are tackling the fireplace. Yes, in a bathroom, I know. This Victorian gem is over 130 years old. She is crusty, she's dusty, she's musty. But first, let's sort out the surround. Step 1, get some paint stripper on it. Just slop that on and hope for the best. I applied 2 coats, left it on for a few hours. Then it all goes kind of gooey and mostly scrapes off. Some satisfying scrapey scrape moments right here. It's kind of beigey under this green, and this is when I realised the surround is not made of wood but some sort of stone. Not sure what though. Some tough bits to get through, and it doesn't come completely flawless, which is fine because stage 2 is filling, really getting into all the nicks and scrapes on this old stone boy. I always start with a filling knife and then I just end up using my hands because I'm an absolute wrong'un. And once that's dried, I gave it all a good sand back, which just smooths that filler out and gets any of that bumpy leftover paint off. Then fully cleaned and dusted it all off, ready for priming, and I'm already running out of time, so I'll see you in the next part where I turn it into this. World's worst bathroom renovation part 9, and we are back on the fireplace makeover. Last time I stripped, filled and sanded the surround, so now it's time to prime. I use my favourite primer from Zinsa. I'm not going to fully decorate the surround as the walls will be plastered and it will get messy. Just getting it as far as I can for now, and I'm not sure what the end colour will be, but white is always a good base. Then I forgot I'd bought these wooden corbels online. Corbels? Which I want to stick on to add a bit of character. This is a Victorian house after all. I just used some no more nails on the back, stuck them on. This was very easy, would recommend. Once they've dried, I also primed those, and that's the surround done for now. I will be coming back to the cast iron insert soon, but I wanted to move on to our bathroom vanity unit, getting it prepped before big works begin. It'll be quite the upgrade from our current sink. You may have seen us buy this vintage G-Plan cabinet a while back, and it even has the original delivery sticker from 1979 still on the back. I'll do a more detailed video on the full process, but first let's give it a quick clean with some diluted sugar soap. Once that's dried, it's onto yacht varnish, which is basically like putting a clear nail varnish on top to stop your nails chipping. This will waterproof the unit. I did this on the vanity in our last house too, using the same stuff, and it works an absolute treat. 2 coats of this in total, absolutely everywhere, inside, outside, top, bottom, doors, legs. We don't want water getting in anywhere. Almost looks sticky, but trust the process as it does dry down a lot less glossy. Keep your eyes peeled for a full process video coming very soon. This is the final bathroom update before the builders come. Soon there'll be no more showering in this. It is literally being held together by tape at this point. And no more of this at last. Only a few more things to do, including getting the radiators out, which was a bit messy, and I'll admit I contributed literally nothing to this. Do you see me there pretending to help? Literally nothing. Another thing on the list was to get these wallpaper remnants off the loo wall, but why scrape off wallpaper when you can just scrape off the wall? So that's that done. Lastly, we had to wrap all the beams in this plastic sheeting to protect them when the plastering begins. Otherwise, we're just going to have blobs of plaster spoiling our hard restoration work. And this was easy, but quite boring, and I still somehow managed to get mess everywhere. It's just never ended in this bathroom. Like, it will be completely finished and we will still be filling out rubble bags. I'm sure of it. So that is it for now, and the next update will hopefully be more of something that looks like an actual bathroom rather than a murder scene. Something a bit like this, we hope. So follow along if you want to see that satisfying full transformation. Surprise! The big bathroom build has officially begun and there's major progress already. Obviously I kept the start under wraps and didn't shout about it at all, but our builders were able to come 2 weeks earlier than planned, so we were suddenly thrust into full renovation mode with all the mess and all the noise. But at last, it's finally time to say goodbye to this hellhole. We got everything ready with just a few days' notice, and then before we knew it, the place was stripped out, a new wall was being built, plumbing and electrics were going in, which is so good to see after 4 horrible months of preparation. But along the way, there was a casualty. Remember that fireplace I spent an age restoring? Well, it had to come out due to very wonky wall reasons, and the surround didn't survive the move. But the original insert will be going back in, and we found a replacement surround, so fear not, it will live to see another day. You know, renovations are full of up and downs, surprises, challenges, and we just have to live, laugh, love through it all. After just 3 days of builders, this room looks completely transformed. The vision is starting to become a reality, although the luxury shower fantasy isn't given just yet, as a pop-up tent in the garden with a camping shower is all we have for now. But next time we'll have something more like an actual bathroom to show you. The world's worst bathroom has actual walls. It is happening. The plasterers have been in and done a stunning job on making these walls look smooth, so things can only get better from now on, right? We sodded off to Paris for a week while the plaster dried out, majorly triggered by the fake lava and plaster at Disneyland, by the way. But we came back to a whole lot of work. We're racing against the tiler who starts on Monday, and we need to mist coat, tank the shower area, paint the walls, and put the fireplace back in before he arrives. No pressure. We mist coated the walls one night after work, which isn't the trickiest job, but when your ceilings are over 3 meters high and you need the longest roller pole possible to reach them, it's not that easy either. But we got through it. I personally like to use new plaster paint. It saves you all that time trying to water down emulsion, and believe me, time is not on our side, she says, taking a break to sing along to Rachel Stevens rather than doing any work. Anyway, we got that done on night 1. And so night 2 was all about tanking the shower area. This is basically just covering your walls in a liquid membrane that dries to a rubberized finish, so it fully waterproofs anywhere that's going to be regularly drenched in water. I'll unpack this in a bit more detail another time, but this is my first ever time tanking, and I actually didn't hate it or find it too difficult. Room for improvement for sure, but hopefully this will stop any water seeping through between the tiles and wrecking the bathroom vision. But before all of this happened, I ordered a replacement fireplace surround on Etsy, got it primed so we can replace the broken original one, and we have to get it on the wall before our tiler boy comes. But we are so close to finishing, and next time you see this room it will actually look a bit like a bathroom. It's time to free the beams from their plastic prison. Glorious. Now the shower's been tanked, it's time to get the purple dungers on and get back to work. Not that. Today is finally painting day. We're going with Yes Colours Carmine Neutral in eggshell over all the walls. We wanted something quite subtle and light to go with all the crazy orange geometric terrazzo-ness of the tiles. And as you can tell, it's not very light in here because I decided to paint the first coat one night after work. So I didn't actually start rolling the walls until about 9 PM, finishing the whole room by about 10:30 PM. Would not recommend painting in the dark, by the way, rookie error. But actually it looks great the next day. day, so I left Neil to tackle the second coat while I started painting the half orange in our loo to match our floor tiles. We'll be wallpapering the top half in this light checkerboard paper and have a dado rail to separate the two. Back in the bathroom, we then cut a hole to put the original fireplace back in. I'm not sure why we did this after painting, but YOLO. And we had to level out the floor in here a bit so it could be tiled. You know you're a renovator when you have a spare bag of cement in the shed, just because. Then at last, the moment came to free these beautiful Victorian ceiling beams, which we'd painstakingly restored a couple of months ago. And wow, they are looking good. They've survived several rounds of plastering and painting, and just seeing them in the space makes all our horrendous roof struggles worth it. Now there's no plastic around the ends of the beams, I could caulk where they join the wall just to give a seamless finish between wood and plaster. I will need to go back and paint over this caulk, but wait, what is this colour? A little extra surprise I've been working on perhaps? More on that next time, and guess what? There are tiles on the wall to show you. Follow for part 14 very soon. Are you ready for the final bathroom update before the big reveal? Let's start by showing you the tiles. They went up over the course of a week by our trusty tiling professional, and even though it looked like a building site for days, finally the vision started to unfold, and oh my god, it's an actual bathroom. Although it's an empty, chaotic patterned room right now, it is a huge step in the right direction. However, now we enter the 1,000 little jobs era to get this space finished before the bath, sink and shower are actually installed. This includes painting over all the caulk around the ceiling beams, touching up paint around the tile edges, and this looks fast, but believe me, this is hours and hours of work after our full-time jobs every single night. Also, the lighting is in, and guess who's back in the house? The original fireplace with a new surround, and I'll admit, getting this on the wall was a lot harder than it looks. The amount of fuck-ups and holes we made are quite frankly embarrassing, but let's ignore those because we finally got it on. I caulked it in place, and I tried the soapy water trick for smoothing the caulk this time, and I have to say, new fave, 10 out of 10 would recommend. But the main work this week has actually been in the loo. We haven't forgotten about you, girl. I caulked the gap between the wall and tile trim, protecting the trim with tape because it costs more than my actual life. I feel like all I do is caulk now. It's my only skill, my personality trait, belief system. All I do is caulk. Painted it orange once dry, then it's dado time. We're using dado rail to add character and section off the top half of the loo for wallpapering. I no more nails it to the wall and it really gorilla gripped on there. This piece was also fine, apart from all the adhesive I smeared down the wall. Whoopsie. We then cut and installed the inner loo architrave, which I primed and caulked, yep, again. And this is all taking place on weeknights before a big DIY weekend. Lol. I've got so much footage, so if you want a deep dive on anything, let me know in the comments. But by the next update, you will have seen the full finished bathroom. Are you ready to see this 5-month bathroom renovation finally be finished? The tiles are in, and now I can show you the end result. But there were so many little tasks to get us over the finish line first, like painting the fireplace surround to blend in with the wall, painting the dado rail in the loo, and all the other woodwork in this gorgeous orange colour. Also caulked and painted the architrave in the bathroom. I think I'm a master caulker now. Like, of all the useful skills to have in life, I'm not sure this is top 10, but here we are. Meanwhile, our fitters turned up to actually put things in the bathroom. Our bin men hate us now, and this was when things really started to get exciting. Having an actual shower, sink and bath finally in was like... could not be happier with how this all looked. That weird vision in my head finally exists IRL. But still so many finishing touches to go before we're done, like hanging a plant above the bath. Priorities are in order, as you can tell. Then I tried to enter my wallpapering era, and I kind of look like I know what I'm doing here. Went in with such optimism, but turns out this paper was so bad it would not go in any corner without crumpling to shit. But back to the bathroom. You'd think we'd be finished by now, but still had hooks to put on the wall, and the eagle-eyed viewers amongst you will have spotted the bright blue corner. I see you. Well, we had a carpenter build us a pretty boiler cupboard, and I wanted the inside to be fun, so I went for this stunning electric glue by Yes Colours, and I decided to prime and paint it all on one of those really hot nights, all the way until midnight. Why am I like this? This will be home to all our towels, bedding, cleaning stuff, but also she's just an absolute vibe. This colour is everything. Right, almost finished, but the birch plywood doors needed protecting too, so 2 days of coating them in Osmo oil still awaited me. This stuff protects the wood from water and wear without changing the look or colour of the wood. You just brush it on and then sort of buff it in, leave it to dry. Then you give it a very light sand and repeat the brushing and buffing process, just doing 2 coats in total. But it didn't stop there, as we also had to do this on the oak doors into the bathroom and the loo. Another fun evening at Sian's house. Sorry I can't come out tonight, I'm oiling my doors. Then finally we peeled the plastic off and that is it. The bathroom is finished. I still can't believe this room is actually my house. Like, who is she? And that all the ideas in my head actually look good together. Thank you, creative brain, and thank all of you for the love, support and motivation along the way. You've been as much a part of this journey as we have, and it's been incredible to have so many people hype us up at every single stage. I really hope you've enjoyed seeing the realities of a renovation, and please stick around because there are so many more rooms to come.